Welcome into Steelers Talk, Yinzers. My name is Jack Sperry. On today's show, I'm going to be breaking down position by position the Steelers' 2023 roster as it sits right now. I'm going to be breaking down every position on both offense, defense, and special teams. So stick around for my analysis of the Steelers roster heading into training camp here, coming up here in a couple months. But before I get into today's action, make sure you join the family right now and click that subscribe button and turn on your notifications to always get notified when we put out our free videos here on Steelers Talk. Here at Steelers Talk, we try to provide you guys the best and most interactive community of Steelers fans out there on the platform. We try to keep you guys involved with weigh-in questions. Of course, we got Steelers live shows where we bring you guys on. We give you guys shout-outs. So if you want the most interactive experience for a Steelers fan here on YouTube, go ahead and click that subscribe button for me right now. So now let's start with the defense. And, last year, towards the end of the season, the Steelers defense really did a great job. The defensive coordinator is, of course, Teryl Austin, going into his second season as the defensive play caller. Got off to a little bit of a rough start. The secondary gave up some big plays in the passing game. He had some really bad losses to the Bills and Eagles, who just absolutely torched the secondary. But, you take a look at the overall stats for 2022. They were 10th in points per game allowed, 12th in total yards per game allowed, and then they were tied for 14th in both total takeaways and sacks. But then you go ahead and you take a look at what they were like with TJ Watt, and they were so much better with TJ Watt on the field. Remember, Watt had that major injury that he suffered in week 1 against the Bengals, and he was out for multiple weeks. But when he was on the field, the Steelers defense was excellent. First or second in all of those categories. Hopefully he can stay healthy heading into 2023 and stay healthy for the entirety of the season. Of course, when TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith, when those two guys are on the field at the same time, it is absolutely electric. They get after quarterbacks. They force their hand. They force mistakes by opposing quarterbacks. And then you add Nick Herbig to this lineup here, where he's going to be a rotational edge rusher that comes in on third downs and obvious passing situations that kind of come in relief of Watt and Highsmith. Watt and Highsmith are going to be our every down guys that are going to be in there most of the time. But when they need a break, Herbig is going to be a good curveball to throw out there. I like David Perales as well, an undrafted free agent they brought in after the draft. Then you go to the interior of the defensive line, and you've got some pretty darn good players here as well. The Steelers are big believers in Larry Ogunjobi, signed him to a new 3-year deal in NFL free agency. And then Cameron Hayward, very good player for a long time, all-pro caliber player. He's showing no signs of slowing down. I don't expect him to slow down at all in 2023. And then you add Keanu Benson, who hopefully is going to be your nose tackle here in a rotational role to start. And then, he's somebody that's a little bit more raw right now in terms of pass rushing. But Cameron Hayward, somebody that I've compared Keanu Benson to, I think will be fantastic overall. And eventually he can take over Hayward's role as that 3 technique along the pass rush here. This is going to be your down front here in your nickel packages when the Steelers are in 4 down front. So in your nickel packages, your dime packages, these will be the on-ball defenders here rushing the passer. Highsmith is obviously fantastic. TJ Watt is a defensive player of the year candidate when he's on the field and fully healthy. Same thing with Cameron Hayward, and I like the upside of Larry Ogunjobi. The Steelers really seem to believe in him. And then DeMarvin Leal as well is a very versatile piece that's going to be coming in there. And of course, Nick Herbig on third down is going to be a good piece for you. So how good is the Pittsburgh Steelers defense? Going to be breaking down the inside linebackers and the secondary here in just a second. But let me know, how good is the Steelers defense going to be in 2023? Type D3 if you think it's going to be a top 3 defense, D5 if you think it's going to be a top 5 defense, or D10 if you think it's going to be in the top 10. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So go ahead, when you get an ad break here on the video here, just go ahead, go to the comment section, find that top comment, that's the pinned comment, and answer today's question. Now let's break down the inside linebackers that the Steelers have. And in my opinion, this is probably the weakest group on the Steelers defense so far, right now, I should say. Cole Holcomb and Landon Roberts. You cut Miles Jack, of course. Robert Spillane leaves in free agency. Same thing with Devin Bush. Mark Robinson is a good piece. I kind of like the upside there. I really thought they might add a coverage linebacker somewhere in the mix here, but I think that Nick Herbig, they're going to be trying to move into this role moving forward. I think they're going to start Nick Herbig out as an outside linebacker and try to transition him to a full-time inside linebacker. linebacker role. Holcomb and Roberts are good players, but personally I do think this is the weakest link on the Steelers defense right now. Then you get into the corners, and they definitely did a great job addressing this need this year. You got Patrick Peterson as your number one cornerback, Joey Porter Jr. hopefully as your CB1 in the future. Of course, you draft Corey Trice Jr., who's probably going to be more of a developmental guy. Levi Wallace and Ahkello Witherspoon are good, solid veterans that I think that you can trust. Ahkello Witherspoon has been pretty inconsistent throughout his career, but he's the type of corner that fits this style of defense. Very excited to see the improvement from this group in 2023. And in my opinion, I just don't think it's a weakness anymore. Last year, you dealt with injuries. Of course, Ahkello Witherspoon dealing with a hamstring injury was just not good, did not have the same speed when he was playing because he was dealing with that hamstring issue. Hopefully, he can get fully healthy, get that speed back. And then when you have Corey Trice Jr., Joey Porter Jr., Patrick Peterson added to the group and kind of that hybrid nickel star kind of role that it seems like Mike Tomlin is going to be trying to implement him in this year, I'm very excited about the cornerbacks on the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. And that's accompanied by the safeties, of course, Minkah Fitzpatrick, all-pro level talent. And then I think Damontae Kazee is going to be playing most of the snaps as the second safety. I think the Steelers are going to be playing a lot of two high safety shells and playing lots of cover 4, cover 6, that kind of stuff. Keanu Neal will come in as kind of that Terrell Edmunds kind of hybrid linebacker safety kind of role in that 3 safety package, as well as when the Steelers are in 1 high safety package. I think Neal will be that true strong safety that plays in the box. But I think most of the time it will be Fitzpatrick and Kazee out there splitting the field and then also rotating coverages as well. Mike Tomlin, as we know, likes to keep opposing offenses on their toes. And how often? I think, the big question for me is how often are we going to see that 3 safety package? Last year, towards the end of the season, we saw it more and more and more. We saw Kazee, Fitzpatrick, and Edmunds really have some great success there. I think it's going to depend on how much the coaching staff trust Keanu Neal to be out there on the field. I think that's a really, really solid package that allows Mike Tomlin to do a lot of different things in terms of disguising coverages. I think that's a very fun package, and I want to see more of it next season. So now let's move over to the offense, where, of course, the offensive coordinator is Matt Canada, and a lot of people are just not very confident in Matt Canada right now. It seems like the optimism is pretty high for the offense in general, but not for Matt Canada, and you can kind of see why when you look at the numbers. Overall, last season for the Pittsburgh Steelers, 26th in points, 27th in yards per play, 19th in drive success rate, which is a very important sabermetric there. 7th in third down percentage, and they were actually first in the NFL in third down percentage going into the later games of the season. So that one's not too bad. Deontay Johnson was a big help for Kenny Pickett on third down. And then you get into the last 9 games when the Steelers went on that late season surge, almost making it to the playoffs. And the offense did get better, right? 19th, 16th. These numbers are better. They were number 1 in third down percentage during that time, but still not fantastic. You do want to see that improve, especially if the Steelers are going to win the AFC North in 2023. And right now, for me, it starts with the quarterback. Kenny Pickett absolutely must have a great sophomore season if the Steelers are going to win the very competitive AFC North this year. Mitchell Trubisky is a very solid quarterback too. He's been in the room. He works well with Kenny. It'll be interesting to see if the Steelers add another quarterback before the start of camp, because usually teams like to have 4 quarterbacks. But Kenny Pickett, man, I think that this team's destiny in 2023 really does rest on his shoulders. He's got a good offensive line in front of him. Should have a good running game. He's going to have a good defense. A lot of the success of the Steelers next year, I think, is going to be on Pickett's shoulders. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section right now. Will Kenny Pickett have a breakout season in 2023? Type Y if you think yes, or type N if you think no. Can't wait to see how you guys feel about the Steelers' second-year quarterback. Then you get into the running back room here, and I'm very excited to see what this group can do next season. I think you got Najee Harris in there as that number 1 guy. Very excited to see what he can do. Same thing with Jaylen Warren. Really, really good rookie season for Warren last year. A nice curveball to kind of Najee Harris's true power kind of profile there. I think that the Steelers did a really good job with the offensive line building it for a power run game. We're going to get to them in a second, but man, Connor Hayward, I think he's going to be playing a lot of fullback this year. They haven't re-signed Derek Watt, haven't brought in another fullback. I think Connor Hayward is about to make that nice transition to fullback, and I think he's got the perfect body type. I think he's got great receiving ability. I think Matt Canada, if he's smart, can really use Connor Hayward in a very effective way at the fullback position. And speaking of the offensive line, like I just said, let's break down the offensive line here. I think that Omar Khan did a very good job at rebuilding this offensive line. Obviously, it was an issue last season and actually over the last couple of seasons, and I think now that Matt Canada actually has something that he can work with here. Broderick Jones, really effective power run blocker. Same thing with Isaac Seumalo, who you're bringing in from the Eagles. Mason Cole and James Daniels had really good seasons last year for the Black and Gold. Chukwuma Okorafor, they decided that they want to keep him. They like him. They're going to be paying him a ton of money next year to play right tackle, but I really do think that this is going to be a good move for the Steelers. You also have Dan Moore Jr. Kind of as a swing tackle, so if anything happens to any of those tackles, you are set. And I think that it's much improved this year. I think Kenny Pickett is going to have the protection that he needs. I think Najee Harris is going to be able to really do some good things in the run game. I'm very excited to see what the Steelers offense is going to look like with that brand new power run game, of course, led by the picket fence here in this new O-line. All right, now let's get into the tight ends here, and part of that picket fence is new blocking tight end Darnell Washington out of Georgia. Essentially gives you a 6 lineman when he's on the field. I think if Matt Canada was smart, he would do a lot of 12 personnel next year. And if for those of you that don't know what 12 personnel means, it means essentially 1 running back, 2 tight ends. Okay, so that's where 1 and 2 come from. I think Pat Freiermuth and Darnell Washington will be on the field at the same time a lot this year. You have Darnell Washington as that kind of pseudo, like, 6 lineman, which is huge advantage for the Steelers offense with Najee Harris, who's a good power back. Pat Freiermuth is one of the best receiving tight ends in the game, so you have a mismatch right there in the passing game as well. I think this is going to be fantastic for the Steelers, having a true great blocking tight end that has great upside moving on into the future and a great receiving threat at tight end. And that's not even counting the really great receivers that the Steelers have in that awesome wide receiver room right now with Deontay Johnson. George Pickens, I think, is a great 1-2 punch. You make that really nice trade there Omar Khan did for Allen Robinson to be that big slot receiver. So, on those downs where Darnell Washington isn't in the game, you want a bigger slot receiver that can help you out in the run game on those early downs. I think Allen Robinson's going to be able to do that for you. And you got Calvin Austin III as kind of that dynamite special teams kind of gadget player there that you can put in the slot in obvious passing situations. Definitely excited to see what this receiver group can do next season. So you told me how good you think the Steelers defense is going to be. Now tell me how good the offense is going to be. If you think it's going to be top 5, give me an 05 in the comment section. If you think it's going to be top 10, give me 010. Or if you think just Canada sucks and this roster is just not going to be able to get inside the top 10, go ahead and type CS in the comments. All right, now a final piece of the puzzle here is the special teams, of course. You got Chris Boswell as your kicker. BT Potter out of Clemson is the kicker that they're bringing in as an undrafted free agent. Looks like those two will be duking it out for the starting kicking position. I think Boswell will probably win that, but Potter certainly has a shot. Then at the punter position, you have 3 guys that could win the job. Presley Harvin III has been the starter for a little bit now, but he's got some competition right now with Mann and Korsak. Korsak is the award-winning punter out of Rutgers, coming in for a rookie minicamp tryout. I think that with his leg, he played at the Senior Bowl. I think that he's got a really great profile. He's got a real shot to win this starting punter job for the Steelers as an undrafted free agent. Of course, your long snapper there is Christian Kuntz. So in my opinion, with this roster in totality, there's no reason why the Steelers, even in a loaded AFC North, shouldn't be able to make the playoffs in 2023, if not even win the division outright. You look at the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Browns. They all have pretty darn good rosters. They all got better this offseason. Of course, Lamar Jackson is coming back to Baltimore. We know how dangerous that Joe Burrow and those weapons can be in Cincinnati. And in Cleveland, who knows what Deshaun Watson is going to be like this year. Could be primed for a bounce-back season this year. Hopefully not, though. And, if you're looking at the Steelers right now, I think it really rests on Matt Canada and Kenny Pickett. I think that you're really splitting hairs here when you have a division this good and then this talented. Coaching and quarterback play is going to make the difference. If Matt Canada just isn't that good, and if Kenny Pickett doesn't make that next step in his second season, I'm not sure it will be enough to win the AFC North, but I am optimistic. I'm very excited to see what the Steelers team can do next season. That's going to be it for today's show, guys. If you are a real one and you're already subscribed and you want to help out the channel in some way, here's a checklist of stuff that you can do to help us out. You can like today's video. You can get in the comments and answer today's questions. You've already watched till the end, so thank you for being a real one today. And, of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Jack_Sperry. That's going to be it for me today, guys. I appreciate you. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.